What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. I got a review for you. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we got a model, not new, but new this year, released from Vosteed that I'm very excited to take a look at, and also very curious because it kind of looks like one that I already had. What do we got here? The Vosteed Talururs. I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys. Hopefully I am, but this is a 14C28N micarta with steel inlays model, and it's got a crossbar lock on it. So let's go ahead and do the full review. What we're going to do is we're going to do some size comparisons, profile comparisons. We're going to weigh the knife, do a little bit of cutting with it because it is a pass around. Shout out to Kevin, Lefty EDC. Thank you for allowing the community to take a look at this model here from Vosteed. Very cool. All right, let's kick it off with some size comparison. All right, on the table we have a couple of Spyderco lightweights, the Mannix 2 with the applied weapon tech scales and the Para 3 with the applied weapon tech scales, and you can see that this Vosteed is very much in line with the size of the Spyderco. Let's do a couple more. All right, guys, we got a couple of Vosteeds on the table. We got the Hedgehog here, which I think the Talururs very much in line with the size of the Hedgehog. You got a little bit more handle length and the blade length very close to the same, if not the same. And I purposely brought out my Dotson out here today to do this size comparison because it does remind me a lot of the Dotson. There are some differences that you can see here on the table, but we'll dive into that here in a little bit. Let's grab the scale and check the weight on this one. Actually, I got a little ahead of myself. We needed to do the profiles first. Profile comparison, you can see this is more slender than the other two small knives that are comparable to it, and it is also going to be the most shallow, but not quite the most deep carry. The Spyderco is going to be a little bit more deep carry, and then the Hedgehog, and that is due to the pocket clip position. I continue to campaign for Vosteed to get these pocket clips up out to the top, very similar to what you have here on the Hedgehog. I know you can just extend those internal liners a little bit, just to get it a little bit deeper. Now let's grab the scale and check the weight on this one. All right, got the scale here turned on, ready to go. Coming in at 3.4 ounces. I am curious to see how that compares to the Hedgehog. It does feel pretty close in weight. So 3.6, but you get significantly more blade and handle with the Hedgehog than you do on the Talururs. Let's go down to the garage and do a little bit of cutting with this one. All right, down in the garage. 14C28N from Vosteed usually performs pretty well. Let's just see, and this is a pass around, just disclosure, but let's just see. Nice factory edge. That's pretty impressive considering this has gone through the pass around. Got some cardboard here, just a sample size cutting. Again, only getting like 3.5 finger grip on this little guy. You do have like a trigger pull choil here that you can use. So I'm actually gonna just choke back first for a couple cuts. Good bite, nice cutting geometry, feels pretty good. Choke up here and do a couple. Yep, very nice, easy to control. And then we'll just do a couple draw cuts the length of the board. Very nice, acute tip here from Vosteed. Very nice, guys. Let me go ahead, kick it back up to the desk. Okay, we are back up from the table, guys. No spine whack test. This is a pass around, not my knife, so I don't want to do anything like that to abuse being able to check these out. But the knife came dead centered. It ergonomically felt very comfortable in hand. I'm able to trigger pull slightly here, but I won't lie, it's a little unsettling with this type of angle. I almost wish this was a flat spot. I think that would do a little bit better to kind of be able to choke up into this position here and actually get up close to the edge of that knife. Because when I go into the actual cutout here, for me with the larger hands, I'm right next to the edge of the blade, which is a little unsettling. But again, I can choke up here. It's just, it is going to push into that knuckle, and I'm actually going to really feel that. For me, the natural position here is going to be a 3.5 finger grip. I'm going to have my finger in the scallop section here, and I definitely feel that pocket clip when I'm grabbing onto the knife. Feel it, not a hot spot, but I feel it that it's there. It starts to dig in a little bit here where it ramps up to go in and out of the pocket. So you can see what I'm talking about right there. And then what I'm feeling here are the little edges here. You see how it's kind of curved and the edges flare out on the pocket clip. Because of that, I do feel that pushing into my hand here and then a little bit here into the meat of my finger when I'm grabbing onto it. But if you're not gripping it super tight and you're not trying to do extremely hard use task or heavy duty task, I should say, for long periods of time, it's not going to be something that's terribly concerning. Now, I do really like these crossbar lock studs here. These are very nice. I'm able to easily grip onto those, and I notice immediate disengagement as soon as I pull down on them. The springs feel like they're a little bit of a heavier spring, which I think helps with the fact that this does have that mushy crossbar lock feel to it. I feel like the thumb stud action is the best for crossbar locks, only because if you're deploying with the thumb disc here, you just got to be aware and remind yourself to just go hard right out the gate with opening it. Now the reverse flick, I'm able to get my fingernail kind of under that thumb disc and use some of the gripping there to kick it out if I don't excuse me, if I don't have this ring finger grabbing onto it. That's kind of what happened just there. I got to remember to kind of kick that finger out, and then I'm able to kind of flick it out. Not super satisfying to do it that way, if I'm being totally honest. It's just okay. You can do it. I feel like with a thumb disc, you're really just meant to kind of go in underneath, push your thumb into it, and then kind of flip it out, but you got to go real hard with that flick. Blade is very useful. It is what I would consider a medium geometry. It's not the sliciest one out there, but it's definitely going to do your cutting task, and it's going to do some slicing very well. Very acute tip here. That did very nice for me when I tested that. And the pinch grip is super comfortable with this one for me. I'm able to kind of hold it into the natural position, middle finger in the scallop section, index out on the tip here, thumb lands right on this flat spot. So for me, those detailed cuts are very easy to do, and this is very easy to use in that regard. I would say this is definitely targeting folks that have medium to large being the max hand that you want to use on this, and or you just like having something a little bit smaller and more discreet to carry for you. Summer weight wise, coming in at the same weight as your Hedgehog, about 3.4, you'll be able to do it, but what I would say with this one is it's going to be noticeable in the pocket when you're carrying it. The Spyderco lightweight for me and the Manix 2 lightweight for me have just really spoiled me as far as lightweight summer carries, but this would definitely be manageable. Anything under that 4 ounce, especially under that 3.5 ounce range, is going to be really good for you. This micarta is a little bit smoother than I have seen from some of Vosteed's other models. It's like this piece here on the Hedgehog, kind of smooth. There is a little bit more texturing I'm noticing now as I'm holding them both together. That's why I think I do like that they do these frag patterns on their micarta, kind of rough it up a little bit. They're doing good micarta, but I would still say for me, king of the micartas is going to be Kaiser. They just absolutely kill their micarta. The aluminum thumb stud, for being in the pass around, has really held up nicely here. It looks like it would be very easy to take off and swap out. I just don't know if there are other thumb disc. I said studs earlier. I'm sorry, I meant disc. I don't know if there's thumb disc out there that you can kind of go and get. I wouldn't have really picked the orange to go with the green here, but it doesn't look awful. It's okay. You do have some pockets in the scales here. You got one here that I'm seeing for relief, and then of course you got the pocket there for the crossbar lock. All in all, pretty cool little knife. If you wanted a Dotson and just thought it was too expensive and or too big, this is definitely going to be a nice alternative. While they're not identical, the thumb stud action on here is superb, and it is very much, in my opinion, superior to the thumb disc of the Talururs. And I also love the extra space here because it is a full-size knife. So for me, with the larger hands, I can put both the index and middle finger in here and still have room for the ring finger and pinky, and jimping everything on here. Just to me, this is like the perfect all-arounder. It's going to flex into some gent. It's going to be able to do your hard use. And geometry, this feels thinner, but it just could be because the flat grind is a little bit taller on here, but it definitely feels like it's a little bit more slicey. I think this just gets a little bit thicker quicker is what I'm really feeling in hand as I'm doing both of these. On the Datsun, I think you have less of a belly. Let me just check this here. Still can't believe this isn't more popular. Yeah, you got less of, got less of a belly here. So you got a little tiny bit of belly here. With this one, you got more belly. You can see it sticking out more there as you lay it flat. So more belly on the Talururs. So you might be able to do a little bit better with your tabletop cutting. These studs feel very similar. Yeah, I think they're the same studs for the crossbar locks. You got a front flipper here. You only have the thumb disc for deployment, so you got multiple means of deployment here, but you're also talking about, you know, an extra $140 to get the Datsun with the M390 and the titanium, whereas the Talururs is probably going to be like a $50 to $70 knife. So 210 versus 50 to 70, because I honestly don't remember what the price was on this. I do apologize. Very cool little model. Let me know what you think about the Talururs down in the comments below. You know, the typical complaints are just going to be the pocket clip. Really, the pocket clip is the main thing, and I'm not a big thumb disc guy. I would have rather had the thumb studs, but getting that pocket clip up, I think, would alleviate some of the discomfort, because you're pushing it back out further into the softer part of the palm, as opposed to it kind of being right there in the midst of where you kind of feel it digging into the hand. Just like holding it like this, or even just, let's just split the difference. Yeah, so now all I feel really is the front piece, and then this is kind of hitting into the softer spot, so it's not as apparent that that's where the pocket clip is. But again, thank you for watching to this point of the video. It does help the algorithm. On your way out, if you enjoyed it, make sure you'll hit that like. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd love to have your support and following along while I do these types of review. I do check out other gear too on occasion as well, because my EDC expands beyond just the pocket knives, but the pocket knives, of course, are the core of it. Special thanks and shout out to those channel members. You guys are amazing. Thank you for that continued support. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.